opportunity of this to engage with you young people, so that we can have your aspiration on what you think the EAC and how you think the EAC can engage young people so as to realize this issue of climate utopia in our region. That's what
we had, for instance, about the tax justice, which we had with the National Youth Council in Uganda, but also in collaboration with the Tax Justice Network there in Uganda. We had this petition to the Parliament of Uganda, the Speaker, but also later on to the Speaker at IALA, at the East African Community. So that's how we cooperate, still with the National Youth Councils, to derive some change that always has regional backing. But now currently, our areas of focus majorly have been peace and security. And I want to tell you, everyone in this room, and perhaps I think we should be very proud. You know, this is my second time coming to this Bomas, this particular building. Last time we were here for election observation missions, the last year's election for Kenya. And there was a story about this place and how it's monumental in terms of peace and security, because many peace deals and agreements have been signed and reached in this place. So it's good to be here, but also to say at African Union, initially there was something called the panel. I think it still is. So they have the panel of the wise. So in one of our peace and security events and exercises, we were able to examine, and we found all the members of this panel of the wise were these, old people who have a long CV. So they are former diplomats, they are former presidents, and UTC. So we recognize the gap. And we try to start from here to ask, why can't we have also some sort of a youth-wise panel, so that we can have not just these old people with long CVs to do the mediation in peace and security, but also the young people. And I think that idea can be confidently started here, and I think later on spread also to IGADI, to also SADC, and as I speak now, the African Union now has the African Union Youth-Wise call out there to have their first cohort of people who are going to institute the African Union Youth-Wise panel. So you see, that's a big step, I think, in terms of peace and security, in trying to advance our voice as young people, not just here, but also at a regional level, because most of these instruments we ratify, our countries consent to and ratify our regional instruments. So it fits purpose, it defeats the world purpose if we only take local action, which is important, but then we do not have the capacity to engage at the regional level, where most of these things stem from. So that's a strategy we're currently employing to ensure that we have more say and more influence in terms of regional instruments, but also at these global instruments at the UN. And so that's why we want, for instance, have like more young people, see them join the negotiating, panels of their countries when they go for COPs. And also maybe also at the regional level, at the East African community, because the East African community sends a delegation to COP. As much as we appreciate seeing,
the voices from the young people, and I really was hoping that there could be a Kenyan voice, but I know you're all over the room. And so for me, my task here is very, very simple, just to give you a background of the Kenyan process within the SDG discourse, and I come from the SDGs Kenya Forum, that is a civil society coalition within the Kenyan space, meaning it brings together civil society organizations, including young people, youth organizations. I've seen a lot of you here that are part of the forum, and national and international organizations that are based here in Kenya. And so it's very, very interesting today that we are talking about the issues of SDGs and how to plug in. Kenya, like many other African countries, as you've heard, we say that we are on track on only one SDG, that's SDG 13. And this is because of the increase of the forest cover, 8.99%, and also the issues of just the forest cover and the tree cover at 12%. And so if you look at the other SDGs, we are, like most of you, we are not on progress. There's a bit of input here and there. There's a bit of investments. And so we are urging all our governments to ensure that we don't just progress on one or two goals, but we can showcase how all the SDGs should be progressing. And it's important for us to have a holistic approach, because sustainable development goals, we cannot achieve them by just mere having a few goals here and there going on. I was hoping that the slides will come on, but I can use my phone. And so as we progress, we wanted to highlight to you, and I put in a bit of text. This is because I understand many times when I'm in these spaces, young people say to us that we provide information but not holistically, and so we hope that the organizers will be able to share with you this information later on for you to be able to plug in some of the activities that are happening here in Kenya, but also in the region. But more importantly, we hope that you could also, if there's something that is happening in Kenya that you can replicate in your country, we hope that we can do so as partners. And so quickly moving in, the Kenyan SDG process is under the Interagency Technical Working Committee. This is at the State Department of Economic Planning under the National Treasury. And so this is the ministry that is in charge of this. And they've taken a multi-stakeholder approach whereby the government ministries, embassy, and the many other champions who've gone through this. And so this is borrowed from something that happens. Sorry, I can't pronounce that name, but it's the Danish version of the People's Dialogue. I won't try to pronounce the name. But so, like Kenya, we started ours in 2019, and I know many other countries have also been engaging in similar dialogues. These dialogues are very, very important because they bring together multi-party and multi-actor dialogues from different sectors, meaning all these sectors coming together and talking about what is it that we want to achieve within sustainable development processes, but also how do we hold accountability, in terms of our leaders holding them into account. And so this is a very, very interactive people's dialogue. We collaborate with the Danish, they bring their delegation, the Kenyan delegation. And I know that other countries also maybe do similar things. And more importantly, we have the youth cafes, youth spaces. And so we are calling upon during the next People's Dialogue, if you could also come together and also strongly showcase some of these great initiatives that you are participating in. Moving on, there's also an initiative that I wanted to flag to you all. It's called the African UN Youth Delegate, and I know some of you here are part of it. It's happening in Southern Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. And it's led by CRISP. This is a German partner, and what their role is to ensure that we strengthen the youth voices within HLPF, the High-Level Political Forum, the United Nations General Assembly, all these global processes that many times it's just very high-level delegations go to, and we miss out on the young voices, the youth voices. And so this has been very, very interesting, just learning what Southern Sudan, what all these other countries are engaging in, and maybe just calling upon those countries that are missed from this list, maybe